And through the series, Bella's also been told you do not see yourself clearly. So maybe that's why she wouldn't envision a daughter as being the most beautiful. So, okay. Lily asks, what happened to Leah?
Okay, Leah. So there's a lot of story there. And when we're not with Jacob, we don't get her anymore. She is second in command of that pack, which is something that, you know, she's very pleased with, and she's so much happier than she was before. So she's in a better place. But if I were to go ahead with this series in some other form in 10, 20 years, yeah, her story would definitely be one that I would want to follow because I'm interested in her future.
Okay. And has Gianna been turned into a vampire, and did she join the Volturi?
I'm sorry to say, Gianna did not make the cut. Gianna's not with us anymore. That's one of the problems with working for the Volturi. It's a hazardous job.
Also,
you guys are applauding for a woman's death. You do realize this, right? Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
So we're clear.
Also, you never explained why Heidi's eyes are purple.
Actually, I did. I pulled that one out because it does say that the color of her eyes was something that might be achieved with blue contacts on the top of red irises. So that's why they're purple, because red and blue make purple.
What made you decide to do the pregnancy storyline? It seems kind of far from where the characters seem to be heading.
I have heard that. And let me tell you, in New Moon and Eclipse, almost with one exception, every plot line, every single moment of the story is heading towards what happens in Breaking Dawn. I knew exactly where I was going, and all the hints are actually in there. You kind of have to dig for them, but everything that happens for this reason. The one exception was actually the backstory of the Quileutes. That was something that I wrote when there was this possibility that I was going to be forced into this 3-book thing, which I really didn't see how I could do an ending I liked. I came up with an alternate ending that I kind of got a kick out of it. It was a little different. I don't think anyone else would have liked it. My mom hates it. But the Quileute backstory indirectly leads into that. So that's really the only part that wasn't focused on this ending.
How early in the series did you decide that Jacob would imprint on Nessie?
That's another one that those kind of fit together. And that was part of the story from the very beginning. With Twilight, I wrote without knowing what I was going to do. But as soon as I was finished and I kind of, I wrote a couple epilogues and I'm like, okay, I want to live in this world for a little while longer. That was immediately part of what was going to happen. So it was always the future.
Okay. And Kelly asks, have you seen the movie? And if so, are you happy with it?
I had to put in one movie question. I have seen a rough cut. I am thrilled. The only problem was that I had to pack to come on tour and I could only watch it once, and I was really, really upset about that. If I had gone to the theater to see that, I would have turned around, gone outside, bought another ticket, and gone back in, because I'm so ready to watch it again.
Next person asks, I love that in the end Bella was the one protecting those she loved. Did you always know that Bella would end up being so strong?
I knew that Bella was going to be the star at the end, that she was going to make the difference, that it was all going to be about the mental strength that she'd had all along. And over the past couple years, when people are talking about, Bella being this weak human who's just getting rescued again and again, it was a little bit frustrating because I knew that this is all part of one big story arc, and each of these books is just a piece of the fabric, and you can't really cut them apart. And Bella was going to end up totally kicking butt, and it just kind of was frustrating. I couldn't say that.
Because it's like, no, it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. You got to let her completely develop.
Okay, are we having fun yet? Because we've come to the last question. All right. That's okay, there's plenty more, don't worry. But this is the last question. Do you feel sad? Do you feel sad that Bella's perspective is over now?
Not yet. I'm not feeling sad yet, and I think a lot of that is because I'm still working on Midnight Sun. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel after that. I really can't tell at this point. It's so funny and weird to have created this world and live in it so much, and to think about it being over, and I don't know if that's ever really going to sink in, and what I'll do when it does. So I don't know yet.
Okay. Well, I think, like you sort of said, it's a continuum, and this fabric can weave in and out, so it doesn't really ever end. But thank you so much, Stephenie, for the question.
So much, Tammy. Thank you.
All right.
I love you guys too, and thank you for submitting cool questions, and thank you, Tammy. And now we're going to have a lot more fun because Justin's going to come back out, so this is going to be the cool part. So this is the part I like. I have done a lot of tours, and when I do tours, I get to answer questions, and then people sign books. Really not a lot to scream about, in my opinion. And so when I'm greeted by the screams and the excitement, I always wanted to have a better, a show. And so the awesome Elizabeth, who we all know, she came up with this idea, like, what if we did a rock concert? And she said, okay, give me some bands, right? So I was being a total brat, and I'm like, okay, so I know these people are never going to say yes, and I'll put some realistic things on the bottom. But I'm like, okay, I'm just going to put Blue October down, and they can laugh at me. I don't care. I'm putting it on there. And so imagine my surprise.
I didn't laugh.
I think I was in Germany, and Elizabeth says, so, Justin's cool, he wants to do it. And I'm like, are you serious? I thought she was messing with me. But so that's the happy story of how this all got started, and I got to tour with a rock star, which I like a lot.
It's kind of strange because I'm used to touring on the road with a band, and rocking out and all that stuff, and it was I was taken back, honestly, because being a songwriter, I've always grown up reading and writing and trying out fitting words to make them fit. And it was just an obsession of mine, actually, like an obsession, and then having Stephenie Meyer call, which is like the literary Jesus, what I'm saying? So then having her call and actually saying that she wanted to meet me and wanted to hear some stuff and wanted to actually tour with me, I was just like floored. So we met and we went to the studio and we listened to some stuff, and it was cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I mean,
I was truly, I was like being all like, yeah, this is what I do. I was freaking out so bad. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm hearing new music. I got very excited. But it was a really cool experience. And we got to talk about the writing, which is something that I was really surprised at how much we had in common.
Yeah.
How much the same our processes are.
Well, when I sat with her, I was like, so how do you have the patience to and the focus? Is it ADD on my part? Because I can write a really good 3-minute and 45-second song, but you can write an amazing 2,000-page, and I wanted to know how she can do that. And so I was just sitting there, just beating her head open, trying to get some information to help, and I think I was sitting there trying to keep myself cool too. So I guess we were both doing the same thing. And then on our first night of this tour together, we got really in common because we both walked up to each other and I was like, how you doing? And she's like, well, how you doing? I was like, I'm gonna puke. And she's like, so am I. And I was like, that's awesome. That's so great. You know, so together we were nervous and almost puked. So we share that. We share that.
It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it was an awesome thing. Yeah.